We don't really essentially build ships anymore, which is ridiculous. We have countries that do very well at building ships, and we'll be dealing with those countries, and we may be ordering top-of-the-line ships from those countries. And within a fairly short period of time, we'll be building our own ships. So we'll probably have to go to Congress for that.
President Trump on a big priority for him, and that's building U.S. ships. Tonight in our Common Ground segment, we talk about a bipartisan bill aimed at boosting U.S. commercial maritime activity and shipbuilding. Joining us, Arizona Democratic Senator Mark Kelly and Indiana Republican Senator Todd Young. Thank you both for being here. This has been talked about for some time. The Ships for America Act established Maritime Security Advisor position within the White House, established a Maritime Security Trust Fund to reinvest duties and fees, and expand U.S. flag international fleet by 250 ships in 10 years. Senator Young, why is this important?
Well, we have to ensure that the United States of America once again is making commercial ships here in this country. We've become overly reliant on the Chinese Communist Party that basically we have to play Mother May I when we want to move goods out of this country and into this country. And we, from the beginning, have been a maritime nation, a naval nation that requires strong shipbuilding capacity and a strong merchant marine in order to sustain our way of life and our prosperity. So the president is to be commended for finally recognizing the importance of this issue. No previous president really has in modern history. And our vision legislatively aligns 100% with his vision through the executive order. And it's time we start making American ships again.
Because, Senator Kelly, China essentially has our lunch on producing ships. If you look at the percentage of commercial shipping, when you go to that, China is 53.3%. You see the other states, we're down at 0.1%. Now, these are commercial. Obviously, military is a different thing, and it's also an issue for us.
Yeah, Brett, we have about 80 ocean-going merchant vessels in international commerce. When I was at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy as a student, graduated in 1986, we had 400. Today, we're down to 80. China has 5,500. 0.1% is essentially nothing. And if we got into conflict and we have to move stuff across, especially across the Pacific Ocean, but anywhere around the world, we are at risk. Our national security is at risk. We don't want to be in a situation like we were in 2021, 2022 with major supply chain issues. That could result, again, for a different reason, if we don't rebuild our maritime industry.
The number of commercial ships under construction in 2022, this is stunning. I mean, China, 1,794, the United States, 5. Senator Young, not to belabor this point, but can we build up that production quickly?
Well, we have to get started. And we think that this legislation will supercharge our domestic maritime industry. It, of course, will take time to compete with our existing 80 vessels and get up to the 5,500 that China has. But by revitalizing our shipyards, by crowding in private capital from abroad and domestically, by streamlining regulations, and by training the next generation of ship workers, shipyard workers, and merchant mariners, the United States will have sufficient independence in our shipbuilding capacity to run a modern economy without being economically coerced by our adversaries. And in time of war, we'll have the important capacity to move troops and materiel to where they need to go so that we can sustain a long fight.
Yeah, the new Secretary of the Navy, John Fallon's talked a lot about shipbuilding as well on the military side. I want to ask you about shipping being under attack in the Middle East by the Houthis. This is President Trump today about what he's hearing.
We will stop the bombings, and they have capitulated. But more importantly, we will take their word. They say they will not be blowing up ships anymore. And that's what the purpose of what we were doing.
I mean, it's been more than 50 days, Senator Kelly, of these bombings, U.S. Bombings on Houthi facilities in Yemen. But after that, there was another missile that landed in Israel. Israel responded again with a strike. I mean, can we buy what the Houthis are selling on this drawdown?
Well, the Houthis are a terrorist organization that has attacked shipping in the Red Sea. They're supported by the Iranians. Now they've also frequently attacked our ally, Israel. I hope what the president says is accurate. I did see some reporting that possibly the Houthis sent another message, later on in the day. But if that's the case, that would be an incredibly positive development. It's
a tinderbox over there, right, Senator Young?
It is. I think the president's done the right thing here. He is testing the Houthis, and by extension, he's testing the Iranians, since the Iranians provide the Houthis with all sorts of military support and other support to carry out these attacks. And the president and members of Congress are prepared to hold the country of Iran and its leadership accountable if there are further attacks moving forward. So I think the president's doing the right thing, though, withdrawing and seeing if the sea lanes of communication can remain open.
The last thing, you guys have worked on this for a while. Are there other things you think are going to fall in this category of common ground?
Absolutely. We worked together on the Chips and Science Act. Senator Young and I and a number of other members of the Senate, but also members of the House. And, this is another area of industrial policy where I think we can improve our economy, improve our national security, create good-paying jobs, many of which that you can raise a family on that don't require a four-year degree. We find common ground all the time in the United States Senate to work across the aisle on things. All of this stuff, the public doesn't always hear about it, but we work really hard to try to work together.
Well, we're trying to get it out there in these segments, and we appreciate you both coming in.